Today we're going to look at simple interest and compound interest. The purpose of this lesson is to be able to work with simple interest and compound interest in real life situations. The outcomes of this lesson is that you should be able to understand simple interest in order to better understand the concept of compound interest. Let's look at some terminology. Interest is a monetary value, rands or dollars. Interest rate is a percentage, and you have to know that simple interest is very rarely used in everyday life. The only real purpose of simple interest is for hire purchase agreements. Right, our first example is going to be a simple interest example. The investment is 20,000 Rand. The interest rate is 8% a month, and the investment life is 12 months. Right, let's look at our simple interest table. Remember, we said the investment was 20,000 Rand. The interest rate was 8%, and the life of the loan was 12 months. Right, with simple interest, it is just a percentage increase. So if my interest rate, so this is my starting amount, so my interest rate is 8%, so I'm going to find 8% of 20,000 Rand, and that will be 1,600. Now with simple interest, we always take the starting amount, we find the percentage of it, and right throughout the life of the loan, that is the interest that will be added every month. So this is what happens. So I start with 20,000, I find 8%, and I add it onto the 20,000, and I get 21,600. I'm going to add another 1,600 to that, and I will get 23,200. So each month, I'm adding 1,600 Rand every single month right up until the end of the loan. Right, so let's work out how much interest we got. Well, the interest is 1,600 per month times 12 months, and that will give us 19,200 Rand. That is the interest only. What would my total amount add up to after the year? Total amount is going to be, well, it's what I invested plus the interest I earned. So that will be 20,000 Rand plus 19,200 Rand, and that would come to a sum total of 39,200 Rand for the year. Right, with simple interest, you can see here we find the interest once. So we find 8% of the 20,000, and our interest is 1,600. We add that amount. Now we're going to look at a compound interest investment. Again, the investment is 20,000 Rand. The interest rate is 8% per month, and the investment life is also 12 months. Let's look at our compound interest table. Once again, the money was invested was 20,000 Rand. The interest rate was still 8%, and the life of the loan was still 1 year, or 12 months. Right, now compound interest is the interest that the banks and financial institutions use. What happened was, so we have our opening balance, which is 20,000. Our interest rate, so how did I get 0,08? Well, I went 8 over 100, and if you put that in your calculator, you will get 0,08. So that is my interest rate. So I'm going to, just like I did in the previous calculation, I'm going to take 8% of 20,000 Rand. And in the same calculation, we got 1,600 Rand. So what happens is, to get the closing balance, I am going to add 20,000 Rand plus 1,600, and I'm going to get 21,600. Right, so the first step of both interests are the same. But what happens now, if you have a look here, we take this amount, our closing balance of month 1 becomes our opening balance of month 2. So into month 2, I'm taking my value plus the interest, and now I'm going to calculate interest on that total amount. So now I'm going to go 21,600 Rand multiplied by 8/100, and when I do that, I will get 1,728. When I add these two together, I get 23,328 Rand. Now this carries on throughout the life of the loan. So let's have a look here. 23,328 gets brought into the next month. That is my starting value. So my starting value has my opening balance plus interest. Does it work throughout? Well, there's 25,194. 25,194. So in actual fact, your interest, if we have a look here, our first month the interest was 1,600. The next month it was 1,728. So if we go all the way down that table, you can see that it's more than double my starting interest. 1,600, and I land up with 3,730 Rand interest in my final month. And that is what compound interest is about. It is about getting interest on interest. And so your investment grows. Let's take both those examples and let's put them on a graph to better see what the effect of compound and simple interest is on the life of an investment. Here we can see both graphs start at 20,000 Rand. And you can see for the first month, the interest is the same, 21,600. And then look what happens. This graph just grows exponentially. It is a curve, whereas this graph is a straight line. Right, why will it be a straight line? When do we have a straight line graph? Okay, we have a straight line graph when it increases at a constant rate. And remember that this graph was increasing by 1,600 Rand every single month, whereas the other graph was increasing by more and more and more and more. And what eventually happens is this becomes so much greater than that. So the longer the investment, the greater this gap becomes. So that's how you would represent simple interest and compound interest on a graph. It is often asked in exams, so please make sure you have a good look at it and you can recognize a compound interest graph, which is an exponential graph. That's it for